好，托马斯 OK 了哈。好，大家好。今天是自然小大师Summer Seminar 关于自然漫步项目组关于昆虫生命周期的讲座。我们今天的 presentation 由自然漫步的托马斯丛同学，也就是 Mr. Turtle 来给大家分享他养这些昆虫的经历和他关于一些昆虫的介绍。跟大家先说一下这个过程中如果有问题，托马斯同学会跟大家有一个在每一部分会有一个交流环节。如果那个时候有问题，大家也可以提出来，或者是等到那个讲座结束，大家把问题跟托马斯同学交流一下。同时，最后我们会有一个小大师Summer Seminar 这个调查问卷。希望大家如果参加过其他 Summer Seminar 的课程，如果有一些建议啊，有一些感想啊，欢迎大家给我们做一下那个调查问卷。最后我会发到那个chatting 这个 box 里。好的，那我们现在有请托马斯丛同学开始我们今天的讲座。托马斯丛可以先介绍一下自己。
我先把这个先 share screen 啊。Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's class, and I'm happy to meet you guys. So I am Thomas Song, and today I'm going to talk about the interesting life of insects. Oh yeah, I need to. Okay. So what's an insect? So an insect was a type of animal that will have one head. They will have one head and one thorax. This is one head, and this is one thorax, and one abdomen, and 6 legs, and 4 wings. So here, if you wonder if there's only 3 legs because there are only 3 legs on each side, and also there are 4 wings on their back, but they are just all over each other, so you can only see a lump of wings. But some insects do not have some of these things. For example, ants are a type of insect, but they do not have wings. And also many other type of insects that live underground have small wings or no wing. And here there are 2 types of life cycle. First was incomplete metamorphosis, and the other one was complete metamorphosis. So incomplete metamorphosis was a type of metamorphosis that insects born from an egg. After they hatch, they were called the nymphs. In the stage of nymph, they look almost exactly like the adults, but they do not have wings. During this stage, they will eat a lot and grow bigger and bigger. When each time they grow big enough, they will molt, which means they will leave their old exoskeleton and have another new one. And then after molting for many times, on their back there will be a small sign of wings. Then after they have the small sign, the sign will grow bigger and bigger with the molting. After they molt for one last time, their wing will come out and eventually grow big enough to fly. And at that time, the adult can mate with other adults and have babies. Then the life cycle will keep going. And here was another type of metamorphosis called the complete metamorphosis. So in the complete metamorphosis, the insect will start as an egg. So so it's basically the same as incomplete metamorphosis here. But then the egg will hatch, and the baby form of this insect will called as the larva, which is different from incomplete metamorphosis. And then they will do basically the same thing. They will eat more and molt and then grow bigger until they are big enough and have enough energy to become pupa, and then they will not move and not eat and change their form inside the pupa. After a few weeks, the adult will come out of the pupa, and they look completely, almost completely different from the larva. They do not eat the same thing, and they also do not live in the same place in most of the time. And then the adult will mate with other adults and have eggs, which will hatch into larvae, and the life cycle keeps going. And now I have a question to all you guys, is that do you know what's good and what's bad about these different metamorphoses? So if you can answer it, you can put it in the chat.
没有问题，有问题可以在那个聊天框告诉我，我把你们解除静音。好，没有，那托马斯继续吧。
Okay. So if no one know, I'm just going to say that the difference was actually that the complete metamorphosis have a majority good about it is that the larva will not fight for food with the adults, but the nymph in the incomplete metamorphosis will fight for food with the adult because they eat the same thing. For example, some insects will eat bugs. For example, cricket. They're both in the same foods in during two different stages. So for example, I tell stories that one day adult insect saw a cricket and another nymph insect also saw the cricket, so that they want to eat the same thing, so that they need to fight for each other for the food. But complete metamorphosis do not need to do that because larvae and the adult eat different things. And by the way, there are still more types of metamorphosis that's less common. So these two are the most common ones. And now it's time to tell you guys about my story for complete metamorphosis. So first, I once had 5 giant beetles. That type of beetle have complete metamorphosis. So first, they were born from eggs, and second, they will hatch from egg and became larvae. So I didn't see the part where they hatch because, or they grow the first time they molt, because we got it as the second stage larva, and then when we got it, it's already big and fat. So they will third of all, they will molt for 2 times underground. But you know, they live underground, so what should they eat? So do anyone know what they eat? Put your answer in the chat if you know. So Alice said that it's roots, but it's actually not root, but it's like more like old root. That's super old. So Anyone know?
Alice 熊说 roots 有个
我
问题。
看见了，刚才看见了，我说 root，但是说是非常老的 root，old root，very old. But it's more like a fermented wooden script. So it's also still wood. Yeah. So leaf coats they decompose. Yeah, like more decomposed leaf and wood script, so that they have enough nutrition and energy inside the wood, so that they can grow big enough to become pupa and change into adults. Okay, so we already guessed for this food, and I think you guys did a great job. So let's keep going. So after they molt for many times, they will become pupa. So basically, they are just making a room for themselves in their food, and they will eat and eat and eat, so that they will have a bigger room for them to become pupa. And during the pupa stage, they will have everything they need during the stage, during the need in the adulthood. So, for example, you can see there a big horn on the top of the pupa, the yellow one, and that was the horn for the adult horn, like here, if you can see in my mouse. And that will, if the pupa have a big horn, they will have a big horn during the adult. But if they do not have a big horn during the pupa stage, they'll have a small horn. And after that, they will eventually come out of the pupa. And it's a very dangerous stage, because if there are any interruption, they may be so scared so that they are doing something wrong, and eventually they can't molt very well and eventually die in their pupas. And then after they became pupa, they will come out as an adult. So during the adult stage, they look completely different from the larva, and they also eat different things. In our home, we feed them a type of jelly called the bug jelly, and I'm going to tell you guys that very soon. And then also they are very heavy and very strong. Once we put them in a box for them to live, and during the night, they usually active during the night, by the way, and during the night they want to mate with other beetles, so they pop the top of the box off and they fly out to find other beetles, and they're very noisy, just like a mini helicopter all around your room. And now I'm going to show a video of my giant beetle. It's very active. And this is what they look like when they are adult. And just as what I said, actually the green thing that you can see right here was the beetle jelly. And that type of jelly was very good for their health. There are many nutritions inside. It's just like what they eat in the nature. They actually eat a type of fruit that's rotten, so it's very soft. They can't eat hardened things, so they need to eat things like rotten fruit. But we do not want rotten fruit because it's very smelly, so we change into jelly. And I also have another story for complete metamorphosis. So this time it's not about beetles, but it's about another type of insect that also have complete metamorphosis. That's a moth, and I have a few of those. So I have two types. One is a natural moth, and another one was the silkworm, which make a lot of silk. And first, I got them as larvae, so they look green first, and then they will grow bigger when they eat more. So they both eat leaves. So that means they need to eat a lot because leaves do not contain a lot of nutrition. And after eat a lot, they will use leaves and silk to create their pupa in cocoon. So usually they will mainly use leaves, and leaves was just like the concrete, just like the brick of our home, and the silk was just like the concrete to connect each bricks. And then they will use their silk and leaf to create a cocoon and change into pupa inside the cocoon. But my silkworm have 100% completely, their cocoon was completely made of silk. So they make a lot of silk and called the silkworm. And then they will be inside the cocoon for a few days and weeks. And then they will come out with 4 wet wings, and they will dry them soon after. But they don't just dry them, but they also pump some type of liquid inside so that it can stretch out. And soon they will die from their age. Okay, so here was a video about my silkworm. And if you wonder what type of music is it on the background, it's actually a type of music where Chinese people will use when they are making silk out of the silkworm's cocoon. And here was what it looks when they come out. They have a small wings, and the moth that was natural from the wild have a bigger wings. And then is another video about the moth, but it's the wild moth this time. And do you know why was the background music so sad? It's actually because the moth can't eat stuff after they became adult. They do not have a good mouthpiece to eat food. It's very sad, but they are still very beautiful. And now I'm going to, okay, so I'm just asking, did you all see the videos?
video 有一点卡，
能看见吧就行。
能看见，但是它几乎，它不太动。
不太懂 ，OK，大家需要再放一遍吗？那个视频。
Do you guys need to repeat this video again?
OK，所以他们说 yes，我就把这些都调回去。OK, here I'm going to play the video. So here's the silkworm. So did you guys see that this time? It's kind of short, but no, somebody still didn't. Okay, someone sees it. Okay, so it's a bit of laggy, but we are just just going to keep go on because it's the internet problem. Okay, so this time it's the okay, so here was the moth. I'm very sorry if you guys can't see it, but it's basically the silkworm one was basically they making the cocoon, and the moth one was basically flying. And then it's time to show you guys another complete metamorphosis life cycle. So this one is that my family went to Taiwan, and there are many butterflies in an insect museum, and we took many pictures of them. So first they will start as eggs. So here you can see there are many little white dots on the leaves, and that's their eggs. And then they will hatch into larvae. They first, in their early stages, they will look like bird poop, which is very not very good. But then they will molt and eat. Then they will change into the color of leaves, which also used as camouflage. And then they will later became pupa. They do not have cocoons, but they will still look good because their pupa was actually very thin, so that you can see through the outer layers of the pupa. And then when the time passes, the pupa will change color because the insect inside the pupa will change their form and color, just like the adult. Then they will change into the color of adult. And then after a few weeks or a few days, they will come out like this. You can see they're coming out very slowly. This is when they first crack the pupa. And then they will come out even more. And you can see during this stage, their wings are still very small and not big and wet. And then they will come out slowly but surely. And the wings will start to dry at this time. And also they will pump liquid inside. Then after hours or so, their wings are officially good to go, and they can now fly. So I already talked so many types of insect that have complete metamorphosis. So what type of insect do you know that have complete metamorphosis? So as a reminder, complete metamorphosis was a type of metamorphosis that insects start as an egg, and then they will hatch into larvae, and they will eat a lot to grow bigger and bigger. And when they molt, they will eventually become big enough and strong enough, have enough energy to change into pupa and eventually became adult. So what type of insect do you know that have complete metamorphosis? Okay, so first says ladybug. So ladybug, yes, they are a type of insect with complete metamorphosis. Good job. And beetle and moth. Gavin says beetle and moth. Exactly. So I already showed them as examples, but they actually work. And I do not very know what seeds kata or what, but I believe they are. And then there are pantry moth. So pantry moth, I think pantry moth was still a type of moth, and every single type of moth will have complete metamorphosis. And then it's bees. Yes, exactly. Even though you can't see them as pupa, but they will be as a pupa inside their beehive. And butterflies. Yes, butterflies just like these, yes, they have complete metamorphosis. Okay, exactly. Okay, you guys did a great job on complete metamorphosis. And now it's time to let me show you guys the incomplete metamorphosis. So now I'm going to talk about my story about incomplete metamorphosis. So once my mom bought me two mantises, one male and one female, as two nymphs. So just as a reminder, nymph was a sign that it's an incomplete metamorphosis insect, and it's the stage where they look just like the adult but without wings. So first, the mantises have everything that adults have except the wings, just as what I said. And after molting for many times, the signs of their wings started to appear on their back. At first, it's very small that you can't even see it, but eventually they'll grow big enough that's very obvious on their wing, but still not big enough to say their wings. And now I'm going to ask a question about you guys. Ask a question to you guys about what they eat. If you know the answer, you can type it in the chat. Okay, so someone says worms. So worms was a type of food for them, but it's not the main type of food for them in our family. And someone says plants. So mantises was a type of insect where they eat other animals, so they are predators. Because you can see they have a big knife-ish arm. And so that means they can hunt down other insects. And eventually Lily got it correct. It's bugs. So they do eat bugs, which we used cricket. And that type of insect was their favorite. And bugs and worms, yeah, exactly. That's a conclusion. Great job. Okay, so then they eat that. So now you guys know what they eat. Then after they molt for the very last time, they will transform from a nymph to an adult. So this stage during their life is kind of hard for them because they need to get their wings out of their old skin, which is even harder than insects that have complete metamorphosis who come out from pupa. Much harder. And then they will mate with each other and have eggs. And during this stage, the male mantises was very dangerous because if the female mantises was hungry and do not have enough energy for the eggs, the male mantises may well eat the female mantises may well eat the male mantises and for food to lay eggs. But it didn't happen in our family because they have enough cricket to eat, so they do not need the other one to eat for food. So here on the left was a type of mantises that my friend have. So at first they are very small but they still look very beautiful. And then they will molt and molt. Eventually they will become adults, which have a very beautiful eye sign on their back. There are actually a type of mantises that was traditional to China. So you can't really found this type of mantises in America. America, yeah, and their egg will be inside eggshells, and eggshells will looks exactly like a worm. Not very exactly, but very like a worm. So as you can see here, this is a long eggshell that contains hundreds of eggs inside. And when they hatch, even though we didn't see them hatch, but when they hatch, there will be a tons of the baby mantises as nymph, just like flood coming out of the eggshells. And on the right, that was our mantis's eggshell. They looked very different from the Chinese traditional eggshell. They are in the size of your thumbnail, and they are very shaped very like a small cola can. If they just like the bigger one, but when they are more and more low on their eggs, they can't really form a egg the cola bottle shape, so they make like a lump of mud or something like that. Then they will lay their egg, just stick them on the tree or their plants. But it's very dangerous to lay their egg, because during that stage there may well be other predators, for example lizards, to come and eat them. And also their eggs need to be camouflaged well, otherwise other insects will eat it when they still didn't hatch. And then they will eventually die, just as every single type of animal. And then the life cycle will keeps going, because of the egg will change into the nymph and change into the adult, and then have eggs just like that. So now it's time for another question. So what type of insect do you know that have incomplete metamorphosis? So just as a reminder that incomplete metamorphosis was a type of metamorphosis that start from an egg and change into a nymph and molts for many times, and then eventually became adults. So what type of them do you know? So liquid. I can't really read what's a liquid and what's that. And cricket, exactly. So cricket were born from eggs, and then they will become nymph. And they will change to white color eventually, and then molt. It became black, and then when they're white, they will molt again, eventually became adults who have wings. And I also observed that when I'm having a lizard at home, and we feed them cricket, and their cricket that became adults, the life cycle in the box. And then grasshopper, exactly. Grasshopper was a very type of insect that was very close to cricket, but they still have some difference. And you can search them up on the internet. And they're termite. Yeah, wait. So termite was actually a complete metamorphosis, I think, because they will have their stage as a pupa underground in their ant nest. And also some experts say that termites was actually the type that I said have a special type of metamorphosis. So they are not very common. And cockroaches. Wait, cockroaches? I don't know. Sorry, I don't really know what's cockroaches, because I do not really know many type of insects English names. Sorry for that. Oh, my mom just told me that what cockroach is. So cockroach was very similar to termite. Actually, they are very close. And they also have so that means cockroach have incomplete metamorphosis. So that means termite also have incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, so my bad. Termite also have incomplete metamorphosis. Actually, they have a type of system where they are very messy, so that the working termite may well become adult who have wings and then change back to a nymph who don't have wings. It's very complex system. And then it's dragon. It's ants. So ants do not have incomplete metamorphosis. They have complete metamorphosis. Oh, someone says Kika. Okay, Kika. Okay, and what's locust? So locust was a type of insect that were also very close to grasshopper. They are very ancestors. That's very close. And dragonfly, exactly. Even though they live in different places, but they are still incomplete metamorphosis because they do not need to change into pupa. And termites, grasshopper, cockroach, prementis, and a locust. Okay, locust, I already said locust was a type that was similar to cricket and grasshopper. And someone said cicad. Okay, cicad was also a type of insect have incomplete metamorphosis, but they also live in different places. They will be nymph underground for a few years usually, and then they will come out on trees and molt and became adult who can fly. And here was dragonfly. Somebody already said dragonfly before, and I said yes, it is. It is incomplete metamorphosis. So somebody just said its name called cicada. Cicada. Okay, I'm not very good at English pronouncing. Okay, so now it's the time for questions. So any questions? You can type in the chat. You can type your question in the chat. No question. Given this.
有问题也可以把自己的声音按 in mute， 直接提问啊。Okay, go ahead, Thomas.
我刚才没听清，请问你说什么？哦，go ahead 是吗？Okay. So I think no one have a question. So a dung beetle. Okay, so a type of beetle. So dung beetle was a type of beetle that have complete metamorphosis. So I'm just going to tell you guys, every single type of beetle have complete metamorphosis. So that's a fact. Remember that, okay? And then, thanks for watching. The end. And also, if just like what you said in the chat, dragonfly have incomplete metamorphosis, which is on SpongeBob's head. That's exactly right. So thank you for watching today, the end, and have a great day. Bye.
好。
Bye.
Wait a moment, I have a survey. If you have a minute, can you help me to fill out that survey? And if you have trouble to fill out, maybe you can ask your parents to fill out. Thank you.
Okay.
我把那个录像停一下啊。